Strings are an important data type inside Python. Strings are basically just a sequence of characters and closing quotes. So here we have a hello world, it's in closing quotes. Notice that in this case I'm using single quotes to enclose the string. I could use double quotes, it doesn't matter. You can use either one. So a string is just a sequence of characters. And it can be assigned to a variable, just like anything. So you can say x equals hello world or something like that, and that would work. It can be manipulated, so you can do things to it using string operators and functions, and we'll talk about some of the most common string operators and functions that you use to access certain parts of the string, things like this. So as a small example, you can say hello, just type in hello world at the prompt, and it just prints it back to you. You can set variables equal to strings, so s equals still, and t equals life, and that's fine to do. Now, here are some string operators, some of the more common string operators. Let's go through these one at a time. So let's take the first operator, x in s. Now, in this case, x and s are both strings. And x in s tests if x is a substring of s. So it's a Boolean operator. It returns a true if x can be found within s, a bigger string s. X not in s is obviously the opposite, right? It returns true if x cannot be found as a substring within s. S plus t is concatenation. So you take s and t are two strings. Concatenation means basically putting the two strings together. So just gluing them together as one bigger string. So that's what. So s plus t returns a string, a new string, which is the concatenation of the two individual strings. S times n and n times s, either order doesn't matter. In this case, s is a string, n is just some integer. And what that does is it concatenates s to itself n times. So if you say s times 2, it takes s, whatever that string is, and repeats it twice. Concatenates it to itself 2 times. And then if you say s times 3, it copies it 3 times, and so on. Now s bracket I, that's the index operation, and we'll talk about this. But basically, that's how you access an individual character in a string. So if s is a string and I is some integer, s sub 0, s bracket 0, is the first character in that string. And then s bracket 1 is the second character in the string, and so on. So you can access individual characters inside a string using this index operator. And len, with s, where s is a string, that just tells you the length of the string. You often need to know that. It returns an integer, which is the length. So these are very common operators. Let's look at some operators in action. So here we have so we start off with hello world, prints it out. S is equal to still, t is equal to life. Now then after that, we're using some Boolean operators. Actually, in addition to the string operators I described above, you can use Boolean operators, comparison operators. So for instance, s equals still, right? And s is equal to still, so that returns true. S not equal to t, that also returns true because s is still, t is life. They're not equal, so it returns true. S less than t and greater than t, that's basically alphanumeric order. And since s is earlier, s is still and t is life, right? So life is earlier in the alphabet than still. So life is actually less than still by that ordering. So when you say is s less than t, it's just false, and t less than s is true. So let's go through some of those string operators. Remember, s is equal to still, t is equal to life in our example. So if I say s plus t, it just makes a new string, still life, glues them both together, concatenates them together. Now in the next line, I say s plus, and then in quotes I have a single blank space. So s plus blank space plus t. So I'm concatenating 3 things, still, and then a blank space, and then t. So in the end, I get still space life as a new string. There, last one, I say 5 star s. I just take the word still, which is s, and repeat it 5 times, and that's it. Concatenate it 5 times. So those sum operators. Then here's another example of the concatenation, the multiple concatenation. So 20 star, star, and then underscore. I have an underscore in single quotes. So it just repeats 20 of them and gives me a big string of 20 underscores. Now the next one, I in s, is true. So it's looking at this string, very short string I. Is that inside s? Now s is the word still. Is I in there? Yes, there's the letter I in there. So it returns true. O in t. So letter O is not in the word life, so O in t returns false. Li in t, true, because Li is a substring of life. And length of t is 4 because life is 4 long. Now there's the indexing operator. Indexing operator basically takes a string like in this case, apple. Apple is our string. And you pass it inside the brackets, you pass it an index number, an integer, which is the value, the number of the character that you're looking for inside the string, and it'll return that. So s bracket 0, it starts at 0, starts counting at 0. So s bracket 0 gives me the first character, which is a capital A, right? S bracket 1 gives me the second character, which is lowercase p, and so on. It takes the index as the argument, and ISD starts at 0. Remember that one-off error. Sometimes you think it starts at 1. Remember, in computer science, we're always starting at 0. And you can identify individual characters inside a string, or refer to them and use them in any way you want in your code. Thank you.